So because of Burnout, I might have to have a plug for a Gorilla Weekend for the first time ever.
Really? You're going to plug Gorilla
Plug
Weekend?
it in. Plug
It's
it
a
in.
partial, dude. Having two companies burns me out.
Yeah, plug
guys.
your
Cheers, guys.
thing. Plugs your thing.
I'm not gonna plug it hardcore. I'll just mention.
Plug it in. Plug it in.
Cool. You guys ready?
We are.
Check.
I want Cortana.
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 Hey guys, welcome back to the MidYouth Universe, the Saga series podcast. Joining me today, we got Steve.
Ahoy.
We got Maxi Max.
Hello.
And the new homie, the fan, the long time listener, fan, number one commenter, Paras. Welcome to the MidYouth Universe.
Paris.
From Paris with love.
From Paras with love.
He said, "Call me Paris."
Paras is love.
Paras is love or is it with love?
Love. With love.
He said, "Female dogs in heat call him Paris."
Is that what happened?
That's what he said.
Okay.
I don't know English anymore.
We are broadcasting from Silent Hope, guys. Welcome to the MYU. How's life? What's happening? What's something you guys learned this week?
You know, I just learned this earlier before you guys, as I was eating my dinner. Do you know when you were running when you're playing sports as a kid, the coaches always used to say, "Put your hands over your head so you can refill your lungs or blah blah blah." So I used to do that. I never thought it was effective or comfortable. Now I just read, hands on knees posture resulted in superior heart rate recovery and greater tidal volume. The amount of air inhaled into the lungs with each breath compared to hands on head posture. So there you have it.
There
Hands
you
on
go.
knees.
Hands on
All
knees
right.
opens up the lungs more,
right.
which makes sense though, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Like naturally, when you're tired, you just go into that position.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
so
like-
natural, right?
When
It's
you're
the most
dying
natural.
after running, the last thing you want is support. You have to use core support.
go
You
down.
have to support your arms.
I don't know why people said that. Though,
I don't
like,
know.
like-
Put your hands over your
Did you know the best way to run, running, is to mimic how a child runs, like a 2 or 4 or 5-year-old.
This is how they had run Attack on Titan.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody teaches them how to run, but they can run all day. And then we learn how to run with the heel to toe.
Yeah.
But then if you strike the heel, that's a lot of shin splints.
Yeah, you're supposed to step with your toe, right?
You're supposed to
Otherwise,
land
you're
on
a
your
heel
toe.
stepper.
Yeah.
It's up there with mouth breather.
I
Heel
thought you
steppers
always
and
You
gotta
mouth
mouth
breathers.
breather.
I'm a heel stepper too. What you gonna? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you always got to have a proper form, to run.
Proper form is whatever your body wants, which is, as you said, what children want. How children run. It's crazy, right?
Wow.
Yeah. That's my today I learned. What about you, Max? What did you learn today?
So I've been on this. Got into Mark Manson's second book. Everything is F.
It's amazing that they let him write books in prison.
No, he's not a prisoner, but no, he starts off with his intro with the story of Vito Pilecki, and this guy was a Polish resistance fighter in World War II who volunteered himself into Auschwitz.
Whoa.
Yes.
What?
Yes. He volunteered himself into Auschwitz, and I found that such a fascinating story that he actually thought, I'm going to fight these German Nazis, I'm going to infiltrate Auschwitz, and the crazy story is, a lot of the rest of the world didn't know what was going on in Auschwitz during the time, and he would report back saying, they're importing all these Jews, they're, doing all these godforsaken things, and, the sad thing is a lot of people didn't believe him. They didn't send the support.
Weird.
So not only did this guy volunteer himself into Auschwitz, he actually broke out of Auschwitz on his own.
Wow.
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz.
Do you know how old he was at that time?
I don't know.
So
I mean,
he went in, he broke out, and then he went back in again and broke out again, and then I think he
no.
went back.
He went in.
And the
he
security guards were
basically-
like, hey, we've seen you before.
No, he went in. He established this whole kind of secret resistance network where they would smuggle in food, kind of gather information, and then when he wasn't getting a response from the upper chain of command from the outside world, he was like, I got to get out. So, yeah,
I thought he got out and went back in.
did he go?
I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe.
It was
I'm
today I learned on Reddit as well.
Okay.
Single
Well, I
source
mean,
of
I
truth.
just think that's an interesting
It is,
story.
though.
you
No
know.
doubt. No
Very
doubt.
interesting.
We need more people like that.
We often kind of have our daily struggles, but if you think about what this guy did, it's
Mad.
it's uncanny. Right?
Must have burned him out.
Pras, welcome to the MidYouth Universe.
Thanks, mate.
As a longtime fan. Now you are on the other side of the camera. Show this to your mom. Right.
Nervous.
Yeah, don't be nervous, dude. You look good. I like your hair, man. It's always looking good.
It's
Man.
always on point.
Give us an interesting factoid about Paras Aurora. Like, oh, I just gave you government. I'll bleep that out. I know. Give us an interesting fact about you, dude. Like, how's it going? Like,
Hi, interesting fact about me.
yeah,
I speak Cantonese, which is weird.
Give us
lot
a
of
sample. Give us
people-
a sample.
A lot of people cannot.
Drop some Canto on us now.
Gong mat yeah.
into the
Gong
mic.
mat yeah.
Into the
Gong
mic,
mat yeah.
Okay, and what does that mean?
What do you want me to say?
That's always the thing with other languages. Speak it.
It's weird. So I usually hang out with a very diverse group of people.
Yep.
So when I meet someone local or who knows Canto, they will be like surprised. Oh, you speak Canto? It's weird, and it's usually works. But sometimes it's sad. You can hear people talking about you. It's weird. Yeah.
But
tough,
I
man.
think that goes to show kind of like the multi ethnicity of Hong Kong. There's a lot of Indian people that speak Cantonese and people from all works of life that come here.
Damn. I don't know how much. If I would love to go into your origin story, but did you learn Cantonese because you were tired of being picked on and just?
Well, it's simple. I've been involved in only 2 countries. Me and Max were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Just 2 countries. I was born in India and moved to Hong Kong when I was early teens. That's it.
You just
Been
picked
here
up
ever since.
Canto?
Yeah, been here ever since.
How did it start? Like, hey, I want a hot dog. How do I say I want a hot dog? And someone
No,
They don't have hot dogs in Hong Kong, by the way.
Yeah, I was just about. It's not really great hot dogs.
It's not good hot
Yeah,
dogs.
it's not good hot dogs.
You see, I want a sandwich.
我要一个菠萝包.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's heavy Mandarin.
yeah. For the first 2 years, I didn't realize I needed to speak Cantonese. Coming here, I was in an international school, so never really needed it.
Yeah.
After that, I
yeah,
realized,
yeah.
people outside the school don't talk.
Yeah.
So that's when I started learning.
And how did you learn Cantonese? Was it like
It
through
was-
friends or through? Do you have a teacher? Did you go to any schools you could recommend? You want to give a shout out? Or?
It was very casual at first. Just through friends, I was learning all the slangs just to understand. And then I joined, there was a government-funded society called ISS. ISS.
Okay,
Yeah, I know it sounds very close. But it's International Social Service.
Okay.
So they fund all the ethnic minorities to go learn Cantonese.
Mhm.
Right.
I actually
Um,
did that too.
In Wan Chai.
In Jordan.
Ah.
It was government funded for ethnic minorities, and I was there, and the teacher was like, "Why are you here?" And
Really
I'm like,
cheap, right?
I'm an ethnic minority. Look around.
It's true. That's
It
true.
was
Really
true.
cheap,
It
right?
was true.
It's true.
I was respectful. She laughed.
Really cheap, right?
It was cheap. I didn't even, to be honest with you, nobody even asked me for money ever.
It was $100 for 50 hours
Basically, yeah.
for me. Not joking.
Wow.
50 hours, $100.
Lord have mercy.
Can you imagine? But it was Sundays afternoon. That was the worst part, you know?
That's tough.
Yeah.
50 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah.
How does that work? That's a day
Spread
has
across-
20
no,
24 hours.
No, a couple
So-
hours. Every two hours per Sunday, spread across.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's 25 weeks.
Yeah, dude. It was long.
Hey, but you learned Cantonese and you were better for it.
Yeah. I didn't do the advanced course.
Oh.
There's advanced Cantonese?
Yeah. There's 3 levels. So I left the advanced one.
Okay.
I was like, I've had enough. I can have a conversation with someone. I'm good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, that's
man.
amazing.
Yeah, man.
Well, welcome to the NYU.
Yeah, welcome.
It's
Thanks.
good to have you, man.
Thank you.
Show your mom this episode. I'm sure she'll be proud of that. Yeah. Cool, man. So today's episode is sponsored by Brown Bottle Inc. And something about beverages in a brown bottle. They look like they have been
Isn't their motto,
squashed.
turn your frown upside down with Brown Bottle?
That it is. That is exactly what their motto
It's
is.
amazing. It's got like a grainy taste to it.
It's grainy.
I've never tasted anything like it.
Would you say it's ashy?
Ashy.
Maybe ashy. I haven't had it.
It looks a little bit scorched, as if it has been burnt out.
Oh,
Burnt
burnt out.
Ooh,
Sizzle.
see what I did there. See what I
Mr.
did
Stark,
there.
I don't
Wow.
feel so good.
That was clever.
Oh.
That was clever. That was clever.
Bye, Spider-Man. Today we're talking about burnout.
Burnout.
Not the stuff you do with your wheels when you're trying to press girls and stuff like that. And, you know, if you have
Do
a
you-
car
do you
or
even
a
drive
bicycle.
Cars in Hong Kong.
You can do it on a bicycle. You know, you just have to have the power.
Fun fact, I don't know how to drive.
Do you know how to ride a bicycle, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been out.
We've been out cycling.
On a bicycle.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you know how to ride a bicycle? Hey, people don't know how to ride bicycles, man. This is a thing. Here's the thing.
That's why it's a saying. It's like riding a bike.
Oh,
You have to.
Riding bike.
So we're now into April, and as Dan says in these notes, it's a very busy time of year. Right?
Is it?
We've had Easter come and go. We had the Qingming festival. Now it's also like Ramadan, right?
Yep.
For all our Islamic brothers out there, brothers and sisters, and sort of like we have all this momentum coming into the year with the New Year and the New Year celebration and stuff. And if you keep up with that momentum with all these things happening, eventually you're just gonna fizzle out and just be like, ugh, and just kind of like, you know. For you guys, is there any area in your life that consumes the most energy that you've noticed in the past, 4 months of the year that is now?
I think Steve needs to take the wheel on this one.
Well, to rephrase the question, any part of life.
So what part of the past 4 months has really like drained you, like literally burnt you out, as you could say?
Yeah, man. Good question. I'll try to keep it concise. So yeah, I think I've talked about it in a few episodes. I have a full-time job, which has a lot of responsibility, and I'm committed to in a tech startup. And then we do this podcast, which is fun, but also work. Some of us, Phil does the editing, but to show up, to be involved in the chat, to keep the energy, the commitment is still a commitment, right? So it's something you have to pay attention to. And then I have a small business with my partner, is the 2021 way to say it.
Steve, what is this business? Would you like to talk about?
Oh, yes. So it's a CBD, premium CBD business here in Hong Kong. And I'll maybe as we're going around the rounds, I'll find the right way to explain it. But we do everything on our own, right? So we're very transparent with our process. We oversee every step of the process, including sourcing, manufacturing, marketing, the e-commerce website, building relationships, trying to get it into shops. So there's literally coming home from work every single day. I crap you not, is from the door to the computer. Yeah. So you know what? There's a lot going on.
It's tricky, man. Yeah. It's tough, dude.
And yeah, one would say burned out is the word. Yeah, is the word.
Oh man, and for you, Max, what area of your life drains the most energy from you? Because Steve's out here doing 17 jobs, saving the world half the time.
I mean, I guess
he's still an Eagles fan, which is weird.
I'm gonna sneak into ISS and make sure that all the homies are okay.
You're gonna waste the only day you have left. The Sundays are gonna go down the drain.
Just make sure everything's good, and then I'll report back.
Those classes are no joke.
I guess I'm on the other end of the spectrum because right now I'm technically fun employed, as you call it. But I do know the feeling of burnt out. I used to work a full-time job. It was 10 to 12 hour days, 5 to 6 days a week, and I think the feeling of burnout kind of relates to kind of when you're just kind of keeping your head above water, and it feels like you're surviving rather than thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never a fun feeling.
Right.
But I think kind of to counteract it is you have to ask yourself, like, remember why you get started, why you got started in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, because, I think to get to success and to kind of make it, there is a struggle, and there is a grind.
Yeah.
So I think the burnout comes into, you got to just kind of reshift your kind of mental focus. And just kind of taking a step back and if you need to take a break, by all means, sometimes, taking a week off, letting yourself just kind of live and acknowledging that you've worked hard.
Right. So you've explained your burnout and then given a solution. All right, we can call it a wrap. Good night.
I mean,
that was very quick.
Very
quick.
That was a good. That was good.
Is it because I'm here?
He blew his load. Paras. One night in Paras. I was just joking with you.
I know.
When was the last time you actually felt burnt out?
When was the last? I mean, for me, it's like I'm committed to fitness and my diet, and that requires me to live a very kind of regimented life. I usually don't see people during the week. I'm very strict on my diet. I usually go to the gym like 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get to the point where it's like you're doing this like 5-6 days a week, and then when you start to kind of falter, say you have a big weekend and coming into the Monday, it's like, oh, you know, I got to go back in the grind. And then, you know, maybe I give myself one day off, and that one day off becomes 2 days off, and then it starts to creep in like, you know, a bad week. But then we feel this guilt, right? We feel this guilt like, oh, I'm not at my prime. I'm not crushing these 2-hour workouts like I was last week. And I think part of the burnout is also associated with that guilt.
Probably.
So I think,
it's
guilt. What do you mean by guilt? Like,
it's feeling that guilt of like you're not at your prime, right? And I think it's that expectation of we always should be at our best, right?
But Max, I got a question on that. Is someone telling you that, or are you feeling it yourself?
I think it's all Max.
I mean, I think I put that pressure on myself, which is why I'm sharing. I feel like the burnt out feeling sometimes is like, it's I can't perform at my best, so I feel like I shouldn't perform at all. Right. But I think sometimes we need to kind of forgive ourselves a bit and be like, okay, I'm having an off week, but I'm still gonna kind of go through the motions.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
I've been kind of spinning a little bit.
Yeah. I actually want to. I know we have a script, but this is interesting. So these are pressures you put on yourself to always perform, maximize your time, be your best, and then you said you let loose on weekends. You have a big weekend, whatever that means. You know?
I mean, we like you said, Easter. We've had Easter weekend, and
right. And then you feel guilty as to why you've had such a
definitely, like you feel kind of guilty, like, oh, like I partied hard the weekend before.
So who are you performing for during the week that you have to grind, that you have to go to the gym every morning?
I think
that's a good question.
I mean, I think at least for me, it's like, we all, well, I shouldn't say we all, at least I do. I set standards for myself, and I think it's tough sometimes setting these standards for yourself, and then you go into the week and be like, okay, I actually do not feel my best. I do not feel 100%. And it kind of, it's kind of demotivating in a sense.
So is it the incessant need to always feel like you're doing something that causes you to constantly push to the point where you do actually burn out? Is it like a...
Well, I think it's just kind of like human nature to think progression is linear. Like, it's supposed to be linear, but it's not, right? The
only thing we're supposed to do in life is pay taxes and die.
Yes, that is correct.
Talk to an accountant.
But I think it's expectations, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure other people feel this as well. It's like it's like a linear progression. Like, this is the scale, and you're moving on up. But I think to have that expectation is where the burnout happens, the vicious cycle of guilt.
So living up to other people's expectations, or even more concise expectations we have of ourselves that we think other people see in us, burns us out, as in not being who you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, taking a page out of Jordan Peterson's book is like the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. And when you're feeling like you're not as good as who you were yesterday, there's that association with guilt.
And what is your measure? Oh man, we're just like digging into Max.
Yeah.
So Max is on the operating table right now.
Trying to open Max as much as possible.
Right? What's your favorite flavor cake?
If it's not pandan, then you've lost the whole of Southeast
Look
Asia.
at me. You think I eat cake?
Max doesn't eat cake.
I mean, I'm just sharing because, it can come at all levels, wherever you're at, the comparison game, it's not fun. And
no, it's never fun. Because when we play that game, what we do is we compare the worst of whatever is close to us versus the best of something else.
Yeah.
Remember last week we talked about the 90s. The 90s where I was saying right now, yes, with all the drama that's happening, it's kind of a better time to be alive than the 90s. Because we look back at the 90s, guys, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, season 1 was great. And then season 2, like, this is the 80s, I guess. But like, the next season of TMNT was really bad. Like, animations were off, and it was just terrible.
We were too old to watch season 2.
No, did you like...
No.
But what I mean is, like, back then, like, the TV shows,
season 2.
we look back at TMNT, and we're just like, this was a great TV show.
Yeah.
It was not a great TV show.
Yeah.
It was not. Whereas now we are watching My Hero Academia. You're watching.
Attack on Titan, but ignorance is bliss.
That's the thing, man. We compare the best of then versus the worst of then.
Yeah.
Right? So when comparing yourself, you say I should be like. I'm putting words in your mouth. I should be like what was that guy you like? The David Goggins. I should be like David Goggins, but he probably has some crappy days too.
Of course.
He doesn't post them.
And you're absolutely right. We always tend to compare the best of this kind of like superficial thing we made up in our heads, and we associate that guilt onto ourselves, and then that guilt spirals into be kind of this kind of demotivating force, and then we end up feeling this crappy, burnt out things. And I felt it last week, and then this week I was like, okay, I kind of gave myself a week off, and then this week I said, you know what, I'm gonna go through the motions. I didn't work out as hard as I usually do, but I still went to the gym. And I think in times of these like burnout feelings, you should just dial it back a notch. Dial it back a notch. Dial it back a notch, and then but still go through the motions.
Absolutely.
Well, Max, do you feel is it escalated because you're unemployed now?
Yeah, I mean, at some points I do feel this kind of, it's like having the ultimate freedom, having all this ultimate time, but then it's also like, oh, people have jobs, people have daily responsibilities, and it's like, oh, what are you doing?
So you end up comparing yourself.
I wouldn't say comparing myself, but it's more like, am I maximizing my time? Am I using this gift of free time that I have right now to the best of my benefit? Like, every day has to.
It makes sense. But what I used to feel like that, except I was freed by the power of now. Because the only reason you can care about that and, care about not maximizing or not feeling good enough is because you turn the light on. Okay. The only way you can care about that is if you feel it in your ego, right? So once you can overcome it, you free yourself, and then it's just like living in the moment, man.
Yeah, that's it. Because when we of course, when we are comparing ourselves, it's always the emotions of the past with the expectations of the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And even when it comes to maximize, I know we had an episode about maximizing our time.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes the best things you can do with life is nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Actually switch off.
Good Lord.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the burnout I'm feeling recently, today I woke up, went to the gym, came home, played some Legend of Zelda, watched some basketball. Nice. I took a nap. I woke up, played some more Legend of Zelda.
It's a beautiful day.
And then I hung out with my housemate, and then I came here. Oh, I got a haircut.
Amazing.
You see how fresh I'm looking?
I forgot to do my beard.
Yeah,
but
I got a haircut too.
well, Max, on Max, on that note, since you're feeling so much, call me if you need me, man.
Yeah. Paras is
I'll be there,
a
mate.
giving man. There's a lot of Paras to give. Hey. And so, wow, man, we just dug into you there, Max. Like,
it's all right.
I actually wanna.
Well, you wanna talk about it?
Yeah, where's your?
I mean,
burnout coming from,
we
man?
talk experiences, not expertise.
Nice.
We talk experiences, not expertise. Right? And on that note, I think the last time that I felt a burnout was, I think on Sunday, or maybe even Monday, where I was just at the point where I give so much energy into other people, into different things, and the reward is never as satisfactory as the expected reward, right? So what ends up happening is that I end up feeling almost like empty, or not, maybe devoid, or just drained, completely drained. And today, when I just did nothing, it was a blessing. I've spent the past 10 months doing nothing because of the whole pandemic issue. So in terms of work, I can't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I have used this time well, I think, because I've recharged my batteries, I've built deeper relationships with people I want to get to know. And I think right now I'm burnt out, but I know what to do to fix that. And for me, it's just not having expectations of myself and just sort of allowing myself to be whatever I feel, as you said, you mentioned that book, in the moment, in the now, in the present, because we're so focused on what are you going to do in 5 years? What are you going to be doing in like next week? Are you going to like look good for summer? It's April. Like summer's way away.
I've been waiting 5
You
years.
say that now, but
and then it comes back and then
that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting 5 years.
we're in junk mode.
2 months. We get 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
It was a lot waiting 2 months though.
I mean, I think we can all look at life as like peaks and valleys, right? And we can only enjoy the peaks when we go through the valleys. So, you know, highs and lows.
Why don't enjoy the valleys?
What's that?
Why not enjoy the valleys?
Well, there's some people that just expect things to be always, you know, the people that are always like, oh, I'm going to be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I get this promotion. I'll be happy when this and that. But, you know, part of life is the natural swing of ups and downs, the challenges. And as I always say, don't go through your pain, grow through your pain. And I think there's a lot to be said with going through hard times. It kind of, I mean, it's sucky, it sucks. No one likes to do it, but I think it builds calluses, right? Like, you know, when we go to the gym, you lift the weights, you know, you get the calluses. And I think, metaphorically speaking, we need to go through stuff to appreciate the good times. You know, and you know, there's a lot of references to people that went through adversity and then they came out better for it.
Yeah, they say you cannot make silver unless it goes through the crucible, right? The fire has to be burnt before burnt, like today's sponsor, Brown Bottle.
Brown Bottle beer.
You know,
Brown Bottle drink.
And I think
Can we stop saying brown?
That's our brown guy. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Going through each
kind of season
valley,
in life.
allows you. Someone said, look at the picture behind you. You'll never know how bright the sun is unless you have a few clouds. Right?
Yeah.
It's meaningful, dude. Right? Are you feeling?
That's been Hong Kong weather for the last 3 weeks.
The sun was out today, dude.
What are you talking about? It's been nice.
Oh, you
I was in the office.
Yeah.
It's rained like once in the last year.
Yeah.
But,
Being in the office, how do you cope with burnout? You know, since Max is saying that, you know, you go through the valleys, you grow through the valleys.
Yeah.
What's your way of dealing with burnout, though?
So I don't really have minor burnouts, right? I have had major burnouts. And I'm at the moment at a recovery mode, right? I had a major burnout about early last year. And it was at a point where I was devastated, right? I was broken down to the point where I didn't know what to do, right? I was on an extreme high.
And do you mind sharing with our viewers what caused this? Was this something work-related, relationship?
It's mostly work. So I've been in the same company for the last 7 years, right? And I've been on an extreme high, right? I've been moving up immensely. I've been working on things that people didn't think about or stuff like that, right? And I had a major burnout to the point where I actually had a burnout 2 years ago, but I recognized it was a burnout, but I didn't tackle it the way I should have. And I was like, you know what? I got a burnout. Let's just grind it even more, right? Let's just, instead of...
grind it more? Are you crazy?
Yeah, exactly.
Tackle it even? Where are you going to find the energy for
So instead of backing out, right? I was like, let's just grind with it and let's just keep going up.
Grind it.
Right.
Yeah, and it went to the point where I kept just moving up and up and up, and to the point where I started gaining weight. I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping. It was tiring. It was very exhausting until I realized I need to stop. You know, and like I said, I didn't have any minor burnouts. My burnouts have been already major, right? And how I coped up with it was I just switched everything off. I switched off my social media. I started doing yoga. It was crazy.
I was doing yoga.
Man, I can do all sorts of stuff with yoga. Yeah. I started doing yoga.
All sorts of stuff. Are you winking at anyone in particular?
He can do the Warrior 4.
I don't even know what that means.
I can do a crow pose if people know what that means.
Is that on your Tinder profile?
Oh, I should put that on my Tinder profile. But yeah, it went to a point where I needed a break,
Yep.
And I did not realize what my boundaries were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized I needed to set boundaries for my work, for family, for friends,
Right.
for relationships. And boundaries was the most important thing, I think, helped me cope up, right? As simple as leaving work at 6 o'clock, right? I didn't do that for 6 years.
It's tough in Hong Kong though, right? To leave at when you're supposed to leave because you know, in the office culture, it's work until the boss leaves.
It's work until, and it's basically sit there until the boss leaves because everyone stops working.
It's I think it's more on, so growing up in Hong Kong, it's more of where people go like, okay, I'm gonna work as much as I can so I can get the bigger bonus I can get at the end of the year, right? So I can get appreciated in the end of the year, so I can get money, you know. So it goes deeper than just saying, oh, I'm just gonna stay there to impress my boss, right? So it went to the point where I was not taking holidays. I was just grinding. I was there was times where I was in the office till like 2 a.m. Right? To the point where we would go out, have drinks, come back and still do work, you know.
And then come back into the office again the next day.
And at 7 a.m. We would be there in the office at 7 a.m.
So why don't you just sleep there?
Yeah, exactly, right? That's
This is so much easier, right? Like,
that's
go home.
that's the whole burnout phase,
it's
right?
completely
And didn't
right.
realize it. And now I have realized what boundaries are.
Yeah.
I did not know what boundaries were until last year.
And so work helped you realize that.
Yeah.
And as you said, you put it in your personal life as well, right?
Yeah, of course. So I decided that I needed time. I'm getting paid only for the 9 hours of work,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
From 9 to 6, nothing more than that. So I needed to leave at 6, right?
Exactly.
I stopped taking calls after 6 at work. I stopped having meetings. I don't want to do it. You can fit my time, and otherwise I'm not doing it.
Did you have anything else you would have done had you not stayed out late and drank? Was sometimes I think for some people it's just to pass the time because you go home and you're just like.
No, I realized I was not spending enough time with my family and friends.
Okay.
Right. So the time I saved from work, I started spending more time with my family. Right. I'm extremely close to my family, and Phil's met my parents and my sister and everybody. So I'm extremely close to my family.
And they've met us through this show. Hi.
Hello.
That was a weird accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started realizing that I needed to cherish things that I had in life.
Mama, Papa.
Right.
Every night you just go home and look at them like a sitcom TV show.
It was like a sitcom TV show.
Yeah.
when I went to South
It was
Sea.
tough, man. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
The first 3 months, I felt major FOMO, right? I had a fear of missing out because I was skipping parties. I wasn't going to things I didn't need to.
You just said that you were working. You FOMO. You were missing faxing papers. Man, I would be.
No, but then the work was
Facts.
always.
When did you grow up?
It was not just work which was on grind. It was not just work which was on grind. It was everything. Like being in a social circle. You're always out. You're always working. You're always just hustling. Yeah.
So just
You got the right hair for it because you seem the type of guy when you're having fun, your bangs just like fall down. You know,
Ross's hair is
So it's
gorgeous.
like it's from what you're describing, the work hard, play hard kind of cycle.
Yeah.
Where there's no balance. It's just like, working 60 hours a week and then like I'm ready to weekend. I'm like, I'm
Everything
ready
was
to go.
extreme.
And then party hard, and then you show up to work Monday hungover, and then the cycle just kind of repeats. Like,
there was a year between June to August. I went on 15 junks. That's not even the number of weekends there are in 3 months.
It's true. Yeah. That's true.
It was insane. I was on that kind of grind.
Wow. Junks, for those viewers at home, junks or junk boat parties, which are like these big weekend parties.
boat party. I'm on a boat.
That's the one.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah. So it was that kind of crazy, right? And recently, I realized how boundaries worked.
Yeah, boundaries are very important.
I did not know. I honestly didn't know how they worked until last year.
Wow. As recent as last
And
year.
now every time you feel you're approaching a boundary, do you have like a certain thing in your mind that you're
Yeah. Now my brain goes like, oh, okay, I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
It happened recently, last week. There was something that happened personally, and I was like, okay, boundaries, take a step back.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of it's very difficult to realize what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
To draw
I mean,
a line.
I would say to this, when you're feeling this burnout or you're feeling like you're working too hard, you have to ask yourself, why were you working so hard in the first? Like, what is your goal? What is long term? Like, because I think as humans sometimes we fall into this autopilot mode where it's like, oh, I gotta work hard to please the boss. I gotta go to every party to please.
Can I say it's not autopilot? What it actually is, it's the frog in hot water. Have you guys heard of this concept?
Yes.
The frog in hot water.
Were you feeling the pressure?
No.
Or the heat.
When you put a frog in to cook a frog, you put it in cold water in the pot, and then
you slowly heat it up.
Slowly heat it up, because what eventually happens, the creatures.
They feel
nerves.
the heat.
Is it the thyroid, the regulation, the heat regulation stops realizing how hot it's getting. Yeah. So it'll constantly like compensate for it until the point where it cannot, and then the frog just passes out. Yeah. Right? And that's what happens with us. We constantly
proven, but keep going.
What YouTube channels are you subscribed to?
I know, right? So check it out. I'll link them down below. So as the workload and the pressure, and this is what I felt of myself with the social aspect. As this slowly increases, you're like, nah, I can handle it. Yeah. And then it gets more and more, you're like, it's tough, but I can handle it. Yeah. And then it keeps going. You're like, I'm really tired. It's 2 a.m. I'm going back to the office. I'm for some reason, I'm waking up in the morning to work out. Yeah. I'm doing all these things, but I can handle it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where you're just like, I'm being cooked.
I'm being cooked.
Right? You didn't realize that you're now being cooked.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
I wanna add one thing to that. What Max, you said. Yeah. I'll give you my reasoning.
That's correct. Right?
Yeah. The reasoning was
it's true. It's a fable, but modern biologists, the premise is false. A frog that is gradually heated will jump out.
It's
a
correct.
fable. Let's
do
it
lying.
Next week. Challenge.
No, we're not gonna bring frogs in the show.
All right, are you just saying?
Are you still on frogs?
Okay, go ahead.
But I'll tell you my reasoning why I was on that grind.
Yep.
It was the recognition and appreciation I got from the company.
Let's all recognize you for a second. Everyone, just touch his hand.
I acknowledge you.
We acknowledge you.
It was to a point
this is
where
year's worth of recognition for you.
No, it was to a point where I was in the company, right? And then they started pushing. I was grinding and I was doing good, and then they started pushing me, and I was like, it was like a weird kind of high, you know?
Exactly.
It was a weird high, and they kept pushing me. Yeah. I was like, give him all the awards and give him all the promotions, and it was the weird high. It wasn't that someone was telling me to do it. It was just, I like this high for like 2 months, and I want to do it again.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing. But I think that is a good point to add to our viewers and listeners. Is when you're feeling burnout, it's like, ask yourself, why are you doing this internally? Like what is inside you? Like what kind of validation you're seeking? And as you shared, it was just like this high you got from validation of being fulfilled at work. And I think usually it is some sort of validation that we're seeking, but it gets to the point where it becomes a detriment, right? It becomes a detriment to our own healthy lifestyle, the balance. And I think, to take a step back and kind of re-examine why we're doing it is kind of a step to kind of counteracting the burnout feeling.
And leading on from that, Paras, you talked about boundaries and actually talked about the validation. Steve, for you, have you set any boundaries, or do you have any tips, hacks, life hacks, that you could add? Because you have a lot on your plate, you do, and I think for the four of us here, for anyone listening, you are one who's dealing with burnout in a way that is quite manageable.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'll just preface this by saying that in the past couple of years, this is the first time I'm actually okay with having downtime, and I don't feel guilty. You give me 5-day holiday, I will eat it up. I will not have a single second not doing something relaxing. Or so the first goal is to overcome the feeling of guilt and finding out where it comes from, right? Like we talked about.
Don't get in that vicious cycle.
Right. Forget the FOMO. Forget the I'm not good enough. Right. Like honestly.
It was tough for the first 3 months I was going through. It was very tough.
Your time is yours. Nobody else's. It's knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at, because sometimes when people sit down to do things, they burn their time doing things that they're not good at. Yeah. It's understanding the concept that it's okay to spend money to make money, which we all know. But number two is spend money on people that are more proficient at things that you can't do. So if you're sitting and trying to like graphic design something like a box and it's taking you 15 hours to do, and it would cost you $150 to have someone do it in 30 minutes, pay the money.
That's called leveraging.
Leverage.
Leverage.
There you go. Leveraging. So
It's
being
a difference in
comfortable with that
mentality
concept.
too.
Right. But you need these things. You need to
Yeah.
unlock these, be okay with these things. The power of now, unlocking that inside of you, being okay, living in the moment. And once you unlock leveraging the power of now, once you unlock the feeling that it's okay to have downtime, everything just becomes okay. And then you start only working. And my personal energy for work only comes, my creativity comes from my downtime, watching anime or something. Yeah. And then when I'm working and I put everything into something, it's because I want to do it. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm working and I'm not comfortable with it, or I don't like the stuff I'm doing, you're not going to get anything out of me. So if you want me to sit in front of my desk until 6, 7, 8, 9, anytime between after 5:30, I'll be honest with you, nothing's going to be happening. So I would rather go home, recharge, have dinner, and like have my little ADHD moments, like, run into work the next morning, put on my headphones, and then just start doing my best work. So you just have to be okay with these things. And once you free yourself and release yourself from these invisible voices and your ego, and then it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, it's weird when you mention the taking personal time off, vacations and stuff. There's like about 5 years I didn't take a single holiday. Like I was not on a sick leave.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if I was sick as a dog or in bed with Beyonce. I was at work the next day.
In bed with Beyonce.
In bed with the dog.
Right.
I was at work the following day, right? It was at that kind of grind, right?
Yeah.
And it felt to the point where I was like, ooh, I need to step back and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
What you just mentioned.
Yeah.
It was very precise.
Yeah. So what I'm picking up is that, burnout for most of us is caused by the expectations that are set either upon us or we set upon ourselves.
I think it's for the latter.
But we also put on ourselves.
That was
the
was
former,
the latter. Sorry.
But also for me it was the former. Like people expected me to do all these things, and I was frustrated. I could never actually be the person I want to be. So it's expectations, whether it's imposed or pre-imposed. Is that correct? Is that a correct word? No.
Predisposed.
Someone gives it to you, or you put it on yourself. And then the guilt that comes with that because of the expectation.
Self-imposed.
There we go. Self-imposed. And also the reward factor, that we think that you got to work harder to make more, to get more, to maximize your time.
It's a motivation. It's the motivation behind whatever you do. Yeah.
When in reality, what you need to do is be smart about the use of time. It is 100% okay to chill and relax in the same way it is 100% okay to work hard.
Yeah.
So
work smart.
I guess I'll send out on this little kind of antidote that
anecdote.
Or story or
Max has been playing a bit of RPG. He's been poisoned by it.
No. So a few weeks ago I mentioned I listened to the Matt Fraser.
You drop a lot of names. I'm losing track.
5-time CrossFit champion. He was on Joe Rogan recently. Listened to his podcast, and he said that after he won the CrossFit Games, every time he would take a month off working out. So after he won the games, he would literally take a month off working out. Meant he would just sit on the couch, eat whatever he wanted. This guy is CrossFit champion. He's like just won the games.
Yeah. So
we just literally take a month off, do nothing, just watch Netflix all day, eat junk. And he would get to the point where he was kind of feeling guilty about it. Right. And then when the season would start back up, first 2 weeks, he said, like, oh, my God, have I gone too far? Like, he was just like so out of shape or, out of shape for, his professional CrossFit standards. But
that was probably better than all of us combined.
But, like the workouts he was crushing before, he was just like, having a hard time. And it took him maybe, 2 weeks or so to recover. But I'm sharing this because, it's kind of like, he reached that peak, and then took some time off, just did nothing, lived his life. And then coming back to it, of course, coming back into something, there's going to be little struggles, but after two, 3 week period of not being in his prime, he still kind of went through the motions, and then he went on to win, 5-time CrossFit champion. So I'm just sharing with that to share to our viewers that, it's natural to go through these highs and lows. And if you take time off, don't feel guilty about taking time off.
It's important. You know?
It's really
So
important.
I was reading something about that late last year, maybe mid last year. A lot of successful people, right? I don't know the names, but a lot of successful people.
You have to name drop. Max
They-
name drops. So you gotta name drop like
they take daily breaks
Right.
to not burn out, right? People who are extremely caught up and busy, they do daily breaks to the point where 3 hours they're doing nothing, 2 hours they're doing nothing, right? And the rest, like 14 hours of the day, is just a grind, right? So people have figured out a way for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Where I need a break for 2 hours a day. It doesn't matter how it is, whatever they do, but they do that instead of doing that whole month off.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you they do in the sales books. I believe. I believe that a lot of these guys that talk about their time, maximizing their time, have a lot of people do a lot of things for them.
I mean, at that point, you're filthy rich. You don't really care.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean,
But I think you have a point. I think we all need to, and I think this is my challenge for all you guys this week.
This is a good challenge.
Is to find. Last time I said 40 minutes to do nothing, and what I was really trying to get at was just.
Yeah. See, I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you here. I want to challenge that. Right. The 40 minutes. Remember, I left a comment on one of your last podcasts. The last podcast, I put, instead of 40 minutes, do 10 minutes. Start with 10 minutes.
Yeah, we rectified that. So the new challenge is that during the week, actually just stop doing stuff for an hour a week. Whether it's 20 minutes here or 10 minutes here, cumulative 1 hour each, where you just recharge and regenerate. Because I think within 7 days, there's 168 hours in a week. Within 7 days, you can find 5-10 minutes just to switch off and recharge, because the world demands a lot of us, right? It's constantly asking us to give, but it never gives back.
Yeah.
And we have to try to replenish ourselves. And I think the burnouts that we experience are because of these expectations we're trying to live up to. But the reality is we are already enough. We don't have to be this expectation. Whether or not you have the summer body or whatever, you are enough. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because we're always trying to get to the point where if I get this, then I'm enough. If I do that, then I'm enough. If I have all these accolades, then I'm enough. But the reality is we are enough already.
Yeah.
I think Phil, you're going back to one of your older podcasts of failure. Remember?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's all entangles in each other.
all the
I
same.
think the lessons.
Yeah. But that's different from taking a break from burning out.
It's not different. It's the same thing that has two applications or more applications.
Yeah.
It's got multiple applications. You can take a step back and relax and help yourself learn from failure.
Yeah.
Help yourself recover from burnout, and help yourself get more creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's something that we don't do in our lives, because we must always maximize our times. We must always do the best. We must always be striving for higher things. Always try and be the best employee of the. We just got to stop. And just recover.
Yeah. Sometimes less is more.
So guys, this week, 1 hour each.
Yeah.
At some point in the week, I'm unemployed as well. Well, I'm still employed, but I can find that hour easily. But for you guys who are working, and for the guys back at home, I encourage you just to spend a couple of minutes every day, just to recharge from that. And if you need longer, take longer.
And I spend an hour a week listening to this podcast. So
All right.
Fantastic. And listening to the podcast, Steve, where can you find us?
You can find us on YouTube at MidYouth Universe. Make sure you put a space between MidYouth and Universe, but MidYouth is one word. Otherwise, weird things will come up. Find us on Spotify, MidYouth Universe. Find us on IG at MidYouth Universe.
Admin. I have to put all that here.
Can you start doing the things? Are you
Alright.
pointing?
And
I do it though. I do. Where do you want it? You want to hear?
If you'd like
Put 'em
to
over
like and subscribe,
Like and
Like and
subscribe.
subscribe.
this helps us keep the saga continuing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Patreon, please. Do we have one? Donate, guys. We
Donate.
Oh,
we need a new
Patreon. We're getting on that game. Okay.
I'm not even getting paid.
Nobody's
None of us
getting
getting paid.
All right.
I'm here.
All right,
Gentlemen,
Burnout.
it's been a great podcast, and thank you,
Alright.
Paris, so much for joining us. Max.
Thank you for having me.
All right, from
James.
Paris with love.
Acknowledgements all around.
To Brown Bottle Inc.
Brown Bottle
we
Inc.
Love you and
Cheers, guys.
cheers.
I can't cheers an empty brown bottle.
It's fine. Dude, don't be mean.
There's a sip.
And Max, would you sign us off?
And the saga continues.
Peace.
Au revoir.